Hey, listen. In case you're wondering whether your instructor is laughing at you and reading your essay aloud to their friends and colleagues, they absolutely are. But only if you're using one of the essay openers I'm going to be talking about in this video. Instructors react to these openers in much the same way you might react to a Minions meme from your great aunt. There's a kind of an affectionate cringe. We don't want to be mean, but it's hard not to roll our eyes because we have read them so many times and they are so trite. So cliched, so hackneyed, so worn out. The problem is, once you've gotten off on the wrong foot, your instructor is going to be subtly biased, whether they mean to or not, against taking the rest of your essay seriously. So you would be well served to stop using these 7 essay openers. By the way, I was originally going to call this 7 essay openers to avoid, but my son told me that wasn't clickbaity enough, and I'm still on a quest to make enough money from this YouTube channel to pay my Wi-Fi bill, which is a smart goal. I'm going to work from least bad to worst bad. Yes, worst bad is a legitimate phrase because I said so, and I'm an English professor. Our first offender is the classic "in this paper I will discuss." This is okay, and it's mostly preferable to the rest that are to follow on this list, but it's also clumsy and amateurish. In this essay, I will discuss the importance of honor and shame in Shakespeare's Henry IV, Part 1. This is an easy fix, and here's the thing, it's not a bad phrase to use, just later in your introduction, not at the very first sentence. Honor and shame play an important role in Shakespeare's Henry IV, Part 1. In this essay, I will investigate how honor and shame shape the actions and motivations of Prince Hal and Hotspur. Alright, see what I did there? We just moved it down a little bit so that it's not right at the beginning. Another thing to notice here, though, is that you shouldn't drop a word like important or interesting or significant or without saying why. Here I say it plays an important role. Why? Because it shapes the actions and motivations, right? Never say something is important or central or significant or without saying why. Okay. Bad opener number 1 in this essay is closely related to bad opener 2. Let's call this restating the prompt. Let's say you've gotten a prompt. Explore the themes of honor and shame as portrayed in Shakespeare's history plays. Analyze how characters' actions, motivations, and interactions are influenced by these concepts. Consider the role of honor and shame in shaping political decisions, personal relationships, and societal expectations throughout the plays. Support your analysis with specific examples from one of these plays. You turn around and write this. In this essay, I will explore the themes of honor and shame as portrayed in Shakespeare's history plays. I will analyze how characters' actions, motivations, and interactions are influenced by these concepts, and consider the role of... Oh my god, no, don't do this. Usually a prompt is not a thesis. It's a topic. It's an area to explore, but not a path through it. A thesis says something about the topic. It gives you a way through and into that topic. So instead of what you just wrote, you could say, honor and shame shape the actions of characters in Henry IV, Part 1, because, arguable claim, because these concepts are central to the identity and values of the court society to which they belong. Now, central is another word for important here, so you're going to have to say how and why they're central, but that's what you're writing an essay for. You've set up the work that you have to do here. You're not just sort of restating the prompt. It's really, ugh. In case you think I'm making this up, by the way, I've seen this a lot myself, and here's an example from the r/professors subreddit. This is from an anthropology professor. In this essay, I will discuss a feature of another culture that interests me. I will then go on to explain why I find this cultural artifact to be fascinating. In conclusion to this essay, I will enlighten the reader about the similarities and differences between the cultural tidbit and my own cultural oddity. That cultural item I have chosen to examine would be traditional dances in Japan. You can literally see the language of the prompt right there in what they're saying. This is not a very energetic response to the prompt. By the way, if you happen to work on the r/professors subreddit, I promise you we're not all that mean and we don't all hate students. That's just where people vent anonymously on the internet, as they do in today's modern world. Today's modern world, that's bad opener number 3. In today's society, in today's modern world, or my favorite, the chef's kiss, in today's day and age. This kind of phrase is vague, it's overused. It can be helpful to argue for the relevance of your topic to the present or to our specific moment in history and context, but these phrases are totally worn out, and what they communicate to your instructor is low effort. It is a common day experience in the modern society. No, try focusing into a more specific time frame or region. In today's society, people use social media. Bad. Since 2011, the use of social media around the world has grown by such and such %. Good. In today's society, many people use social media. Bad. In the nation of India, social media has come to play an important role in interactions in extended families. Good. As someone who teaches medieval and Renaissance literature, I often see this used to make overdrawn contrasts, like, in today's society, religion is not important like it was in the Middle Ages. This claim is neither true nor verifiable, that is, provable from evidence. Making specific and verifiable claims takes more work, but here's the thing. Instructors respect work, as do employers, partners, colleagues, teammates, and pretty much everyone else you're going to deal with in your life. What do we mean by work? Well, Merriam-Webster's online dictionary defines work as, quote, an activity in which one exerts strengths or faculties to do or perform something. Oh hey, I just did opener number 4. Bad opener number 4 is basically some version of the dictionary defines X as Y. Let me make something clear. It's not a bad thing to use a dictionary. I love dictionaries, and I use dictionary definitions in papers. You use it to support your argument. It goes in the body of a paper. But it's a really cliche, uninspired, and boring way to start an essay, especially if it's to define a familiar concept in a familiar way. Instead of regurgitating what's in the dictionary, show off your critical thinking skills by analyzing different interpretations or offering your own unique perspective on them. So, instead of the dictionary defines honor as a good name or public esteem, try, we know that honor usually refers to a good name or public esteem. Shakespeare's Henry IV investigates what it meant to keep or lose that good name in early modern English and how honor might clash with love and friendship. Another thing to remember when using the dictionary is that dictionaries were not written by God on stony tablets and revealed to humanity. They don't just sort of emerge from the language like some process of physical, natural law. Dictionaries are written by people, and they are written by people making judgments that they hope reflect our changing language and its uses and are accurate. The meaning of words not only can change over time, but they can be fought over as well. There is, by the way, a variation of this opening. I call it the Bartlett's Book of Familiar Quotation opening, where the student, instead of citing an irrelevant dictionary entry, begins with an irrelevant quotation that usually seems pretty obvious. They found it on Google search at, Bartlett's Quotations or brainyquote.com or something. Here's an example. Brene Brown once said that shame erodes our courage and fuels disengagement. In this essay, I will discuss the role of shame in fueling the violent contest for power in Shakespeare's history plays. There's no connection between those two things, really. It's just like I googled shame quotes about shame, found this, was like, ooh, that sounds good. I know who Brene Brown is. Yeah, no, this is no good. Don't do this, please. Okay. So, when I first decided to create this video on opening sentences in essays, I googled existing videos on the topics and resources to see what other people had to say. I also looked through old feedback I'd given to students. Then I discussed it with my wife, who is also a university instructor, and other instructors that I know. Oops! I just started doing bad opener number 5, telling your essay's origin story. In recent years, there has been a trend in teaching to have students write reflection papers in which they talk about the process of learning and how the work went for them and what they learned from it and what their difficult parts were and what they enjoyed. There is value to this, the metacognition, reflection. I'm not going to talk about the value of that now. The problem is that I've increasingly seen this kind of writing creep into assignments that were not intended to be reflective or metacognitive work. They were not meant to be the work about the work. They were meant to be the work itself. So, example. I decided to write about honor and shame in Henry IV Part 1 because the topic was very interesting to me and I really enjoyed that play a lot more than I expected to. So first I went to JSTOR and looked for secondary sources on honor and shame in the history plays. Oh, stop doing this. I want the essay, not the story of how you wrote the essay. Your instructor might ask you for that story, but often it's as a separate assignment called a reflection or a reflective journal or a reflective essay or a personal response. But that's different than the kind of work I'm talking about in this video, which is on research essays, critical research essays, expository essays, not response papers or reflections. So if you're writing one of those more kind of to the point essays, get to your point. Tell us what you learned and what you think, not how you came to learn it and came to think it. This is one place where you don't want to show your work. The work you want to show is the finished work of reasoning, the polish you have put in to make it as accessible and usable to your reader as possible, not the steps that it took to get there. That's the scaffolding that comes away from the building after it's built. Your readers are more interested in your ideas and analysis than by the step-by-step journey of how you wrote the paper. Keep the focus on your topic and why it matters. And now it's time for our 2 finalists, the real Hall of Fame howlers, the instant running jokes that will provoke laughter and commiseration in any humanities faculty lounge. Number 6, stunning generalities. Some students seem to love to make grand claims of dubious provability and, more importantly, limited importance. My favorite example of this was not my student, it was not at a university I've taught at for many years, began a paper with the sentence, "The Pacific Ocean is mainly made of water." Was this essay about the chemical composition of the Pacific Ocean? No. Was it about marine biology? Still no. It was an intro to world's religion essay about the Melanesian cargo cult. I challenge you to tell me why this information, the Pacific Ocean is mainly made of water, is relevant or useful to set up an exposition of religious practices among South Pacific Islanders. Or if it is relevant, why it even needs to be said. Is there somebody in need of this information? What is the Pacific Ocean made out of? Often these openers make claims about people in general. Everybody wants to be loved. Humans have always wanted to go to space, and so forth and so on. And this category includes bad opener number 3. In today's modern world, technology has changed everything. It can also overlap with the dictionary opener. Webster's dictionary defines happiness as the state of being happy. But the most terrible instance of this, and the final one, is really a version of this one. The most infamous example among instructors, the all-time champion of cringe essay openers, the one that I beg you to please stop using. Tell your friends, your loved ones. Since the dawn of time. Since the dawn of time is the undisputed king of cringy, cliche, fillery openers. There are some variations since the dawn of time, throughout history, throughout recorded history, from the dawn of civilization, from the beginning of time, for thousands of years. First, the earth cooled. No, I'm just joking. I've never heard that last one, but all the other ones I have. This is filler, and you are guaranteed to make your professor groan, roll her eyes, feel a sense of dread and foreboding that the rest of your essay will also be low effort filler. Good academic writing is filler free. Instead of making broad claims about what has been the case throughout time or since the beginning of time or the beginning of civilization, narrow down your focus and provide specific historical contexts or events that directly relate to your topic. This will make your opening more meaningful and impactful. So, bad. Throughout history, honor and shame have shaped the actions of people. Good. In the English Renaissance, honor and shame were important concepts shaping the identity and social relations of the nobility as represented in your Shakespeare's history plays. I actually kind of blame the History Channel for this one, because, if you watch any kind of, History Channel show about ancient aliens or whatever, invariably it's throughout history, or since the dawn of civilization. I also understand that at the K-12 level, some teachers teach students that they should open with a hook of general interest. They should use a technique called funneling, where they start broad and get specific. When you get to college or university, throw that crap out because it's no longer true. You want to get to your point, what your topic is, as quickly and efficiently as possible. The relevance, the importance is defined by the instructor. That's kind of your audience. And so, yeah, there you have it. 7 essay openers to throw out the airlock and forget forever. Remember, the opening of your essay sets the tone for the entire piece, so make it count. In a future video, we can talk more about what makes for a strong opener. I also want to do a video on what it means to write without filler, to write without clutter. Let me know if you'd like to hear more about this or other topics. Thank you for tuning in to Language, Literature, and Culture's Winning at Writing series, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more tips on acing your college essays, lectures on literature, on literary theory, on cultural studies, and my intermittent bursts of dumb YouTube shorts that combine highbrow linguistic investigation with dumb dad jokes. Until next time, happy writing. I don't like that closer. Until next time, happy writing. No, that's not good. That's, yeah. Gotta come up with something better for that.